Aloha, I am June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks, and this is the XFL show.
Welcome, football fans. This is award season. This is For the Love of Football, and this is the XFL show. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bryant.
Awards season has given us plenty to debate and preoccupy ourselves with, but now it is time for the big one. This is episode 127. MVP time, Bryant. MVP.
Thank you, Alan, so much. I know I've put my hard-earned effort into this show. It's really a great honor to be called the MVP of this program. I really appreciate you nominating me and selecting me. Unanimous vote.
Not what this is about. If anything, between you and I, it's about the MDS. That's what it's all, or MSD.
MDS?
MSD.
Okay, I'm the MPV.
I don't even know my own. I don't even know my own award. Most socially distant. That's what I'm gunning for, and I'm on like day 22 of that, baby.
Where's the fiance? Where's the fiance?
Streak. She's way down the hall.
She back in New York or something?
Nope, she's way down the hall. We're both enjoying this. She was helping me pick my MVP list that I gave you. You gave me yours. We mashed them together. We have this ultimate MVP list. We're going to get 5 through 1, the top 5 players overall of the season, culminating with number 1, most valuable player. I have some different criteria than you. I know that. Give us a sneak peek of what you were looking for.
Value and the most value a player has towards his team. I think that's something that we can all agree on. Just because we picked the player to be the offensive player of the year, the defensive player of the year, I think there's a little different criteria when it comes to most valuable player, Alan. That's at least on my side.
Yep, there's a lot to think about. Statistics, leadership. You're looking for someone who is just killing it out there and making people say their name a whole lot as well. And there were definitely a handful of guys that did that on a weekly basis in the XFL throughout the season, and it's going to be fun to break that down. We've already given away, Bryant, our other awards for offense, defense, coach of the year. It's been a lot of fun, these countdown episodes that we're winding down here.
Yeah, go back and listen to those in the archives or watch them on YouTube. We counted down the top 5 offensive players, defensive players, and the coach of the year. Offensive player was Cam Phillips. Should I spoil it? Maybe spoiler alert. If you haven't listened, go back and listen. Spoiler. Cam Phillips, offensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year was Will Hill. And our coach of the year was, of course, June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks.
Go ahead, get out of here.
So go check those out. They're in the feed. Bryant, you could get out of here. I'm going to do the rest of the show alone. Yeah, all those shows are in the feed on XFL YouTube, XFL.com. A lot for you to digest and take in. Still plenty of XFL content that we're going to be bringing you on this road to 2021, Bryant. I don't know. The only thing I'm counting are my days in isolation, which I think I'm at like 22. But I want to know about the days till kickoff 2021, or at least around February. We need to start that countdown too, especially when we're doing, the beginning of the show and I do the whole spiel. I'm going to need that info pretty soon. I don't know how many weeks left we have, but it's
so with the 22 days that you've been in quarantine, you cannot figure out how many days or weeks are to kick off?
I don't want to have to do that math. That's the one thing, the one rule we have during quarantine, besides not, letting people in, is no math. No math. No math that'll hurt your brain. We want to avoid all headaches, at least in this household. So that's your job.
Well, I was doing a lot of math last night just for fun, so maybe I'll figure that one out for you, Alan. Also, I've been doing a lot of remodeling. I'm tired of the gimmick.
I like
of everybody, getting upset at me. So excuse the dust and the dirt, but I'm trying to make this fancy schmancy type of thing here.
It's a set. That is now a set for a show.
Well, I mean, this is
watch
not
on a weekly
basis.
This is
the build of the set.
I actually
building
wouldn't mind
of
just
the set.
Just leave the ladder there. I think the ladder's cool. It really it's a metaphor, I think, for how you're climbing up the ladder of
well, I'm over to the MVP. We already established
podcasters that you're not the MVP. Don't call yourself that. You could go out every week. I want you to go out every week and play and act like you're the MVP, but you're not the MVP just yet. Come on. I mean, Look at me. I'm the one wearing the Wildcat shirt. I'm the one with Godzilla right here. I'm the MSD, and I'm ready to do this countdown show if you're ready. Let's go around social media real quick in the XFL. At XFL shows where you can find us, and we are hashtagging as we give away these awards, hashtag XFL Show Awards. And if you want to give us your top 5, make sure you throw that hashtag on your list, and we'll go back and forth with you. And also, we're looking. What are you laughing at?
Well, it's because you say give us your top 5. People are just giving us their number ones and calling us dumb.
I like that. They just get straight to the point. Nope, you're wrong. That's not the coach of the year. You lose. Like this one, Russ. Our good personal, close, long-time, dear good friend, listener of the show since day one, at Russ Move on Twitter, said, Jonathan Hayes should have been coach of the year. Go Battlehawks. I love hey, that's bias, obviously, Russ, but I appreciate your bias, and that's like your opinion, man. Hayes made our list for sure. I love it, though. Thanks for the tweet, Russ.
Definitely in my top 8, I will say that. Kind of got out-coached, though, by Pep Hamilton on that last game. I'm not going to lie.
That is true, and that's why we both, I think, had Pep ahead of him, right, in both our lists. So, Bill McHugh on YouTube commented, June Jones all the way.
I don't want to talk anymore.
So he said we hit the nail on the head on the last episode, Bryant, with June Jones coming away with Coach of the Year.
Well, 5-0, innovative. People had to worry about June Jones more than anyone, I think, in the league. So I think that's warranted and earned by June Jones as Coach of the Year.
And then if you caught the Thank You Fans video, we talked a little bit about it last episode, but I thought Jason Tidd put a really nice comment out there on YouTube as well on the Thank You Fans video. I was watching it again, Bryant, just trying to drum up the waterworks again. And he said, no XFL, we fans thank you for giving us our football back, and we do love our XFL. And I couldn't have said it better myself, Jason, and we're going to get into some of how much we love the XFL and as a league. Now, the players have been great. We've been talking a lot about players and coaches, but the overall league as an entity that became known throughout the sports landscape this year for just 5 weeks, I think it innovated. It caught people's attention, and it already has people excited for 2021 on this road to kick off next year with us, Bryant. We're going to get into some of that because I read a Forbes article that had me thinking a lot and kind of ready to jump up and record the show right away, but you said, no, back off. Let's make sure we get our lists right. We have everything ready. I want to just go into this crazy hot-headed. You cooled me down. We got to talk about that Forbes article.
I think I know what Forbes article you're alluding to, so we'll get into that in the cover too. But calm down, Alan. We're still kind of in the beginnings of off-season talk. Those types of things we can talk about throughout the entire off-season. We still got to get through the end of the regular season. So come on, Alan.
Well, if I'm going to listen to you about anything, it's definitely going to be like how to approach the off-season, because you're very good at talking about football during the off-season.
Can you say the MVP of talking about a startup league?
You're definitely up there. You're on the Mount Rushmore. For sure. All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that cover too. Remember, the XFL Fan Line. We've been waiting for some calls to it lately, Bryant. I got to be honest. I didn't check it today. We might have got one in. We could have played, but we didn't. We don't have one set for the show. But you could call the XFL Fan Line, everybody. That's 724-565-4XFL. And we'll play your voicemails on the show or answer your questions, whatever you want. 724-565-4XFL. Of course, Twitter is the easy way, at XFL Show. And we're looking for everything on social media, what people are talking about the show and the XFL, to bring it back into here to help us come up with stuff to talk about and react to stuff, because we got a long off season here, Brian. We're going to need to interact with everybody. If you're down with the XFL, this is the place to be.
Yeah, if you're missing the XFL like we are, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, worries, if you just need to get by, times are weird. These are weird times right now. No sports, XFL show is here for you. So, give us that call. 724-565-4XFL at XFL Show. Interact with us. Let's have some fun on this.
And look forward to us hitting everyone up on Twitter. We're going to reach out to you on Twitter. We're looking for fan bases representatives. We're looking for representatives of your fan base. So if you're a Guardians fan, if you're a Wildcats fan, if you're a Vipers fan. One of the fan bases we haven't had on the show yet because we've been interviewing some friends and other fans that we've met to talk about their fandom in each XFL city. We're looking to do more of that. And we have some people lined up, but we're going to put that off to dedicate this one fully to the MVP. But on the next episode, we'd like to talk to one of you. So we're going to ask you to either reach out to us on the XFL Fan Line, or you could DM us. DMs are open at XFL Show. If you want to call in or Skype into the show and talk a little bit about maybe a special moment or time you had going to an XFL game or watching the XFL, we want to have fans on the show for sure. And we are also, programming note, waiting for the go-ahead, because we're definitely going to be having some league representatives again as interview guests for long-form interviews again on the show as the season has abruptly ended and everybody's kind of finding their new normal, Bryant. We've put that on hold, but we're definitely going to be having representatives from the league, players, coaches, people in the league office back on the show in no time.
We will, Alan, and really in no time we'll have a somewhat of a norm as we were during the season, having players and coaches and representatives from the teams. But you go back and you listen to Drew, to Chad, I believe that was his name, and man, he's our friend too. And what is his name?
Clint Domingue. Come on,
Clint. Clint. It's just me and him go.
He
way
just
back.
did that on purpose, Clint. Don't mind him.
If you want to be like one of those three men who have been on this show representing their respective teams, make sure you hit us up on that fan line or at XFL Show.
Yes, sir. That's how you do it. And we'll remind you about that later on in the show. But we got to get into this thing. Remember, the XFL app, if you want to follow along with the show, you can catch it on there. You can also find some great articles. Art Garcia, I saw, was doing some good stuff this past week, reminiscing a little bit about interviews they had on XFL.com. Still going into those player profiles. You definitely want to check all that out. And you can get it on the XFL app right in the palm of your hand. That's everything XFL right there, and it's free to download. That is what you need if you're going to be following this long road to 2021, and you can customize it to your favorite team as well. If you want to do that, it's all there on the XFL app. Download it for free today. Let's rock, Bryant. It's time for the cover two.
6 to the boy! 6 to the boy!
And here we go, Bryant, checking back in with the Best Moments Bracket of 2020. The semifinals ended as of this live on tape podcast recording just a few hours ago. And we are down to the finals in our brackets on XFL social media. Everyone's voting on Twitter, Bryant, and the semifinals ending earlier today. The number one seed, St. Louis's kickoff return, beating the Boogie Roberts scoop and score. And you got the Cam PJ Walker sidearm TD connection beating that DC flea flicker. So you've got the number one and number two seed facing off in the finals of this fun bracket fans are voting on. And that the finals voting will take place this weekend.
It will. So go to Twitter, XFL 2020 on Twitter is what you're going to look for to vote for the best moment. These are two great moments. All 8 moments were really great for each team, but these two were superb, 1 and 2. They're headed into the finals. I think I know where I'm putting my money, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, the finals are going to be tough here. This is the best moments bracket, but really these were all plays. We did our moments countdown. We did that show already, Bryant. But ours was a lot different criteria than this. These are all plays, so I think it's interesting. We've been talking about this, following it, and it's come down to these 2 plays. And the more I watch that sidearm touchdown, I might end up voting this weekend on that one. I'm going to wait till Sunday or Monday morning till right before this poll closes, because the kick return is poetic. It's a fun play, but also PJ to Cam is basically what this league was all about this year. And that throw is ridiculous. I'm a sucker for a sidearm, and I don't know. It might end up stealing my vote. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. I think the story behind the number one play, I think, is overpowering, at least from what I can see. Football returns to St. Louis.
You just love puns. You just love puns.
I don't know if that's a pun. I think that's like a play on words. I don't know. I don't think that's a pun.
That's a pun? Is that a pun?
No.
724-5654-XFL. All our English professors who are watching or listening on YouTube or the podcast feed. Is that a pun? I believe it is, but I'm not going to argue over that. I'm going to just vote this weekend. Remember, Friday through Monday, you could vote on the finals of the best XFL moment on XFL Twitter at XFL 2020. Also, check out all those plays. We played them on the last episode, the top 8. You could go look at them over and over again on XFL.com. I know I will be doing that this weekend just to make sure I know I'm voting for the right play. We'll see what wins and talk about it on the Tuesday show. Part 2 of the cover 2 here, Bryant. Let's talk about some more XFLers going to the NFL. Now, we don't have any updates on players, but I talked about that Forbes article. It fired me up because it talked about how the XFL is in a good position to keep succeeding and keep people's attention, and it was great this year. It really stinks that it got cut short. Excellent article, a lot of information there if you're into money. But what I took from that was it talked about how the players who went to the NFL recently, making that jump and are going to be in training camps, trying to make rosters and whatnot, it said that if those players in this article, if those players do not land on NFL rosters, if they don't successfully integrate into the NFL, this is a Patrick Reich article, and he said if they don't succeed in the NFL, it doesn't bode well for the XFL, and that's not a good thing for the XFL. And I just don't see that and how that's applicable at all, because the XFL, while we love these players and we're going to follow them, they are XFLers for life, as I said last week. The fact of the matter is the XFL is being watched and people are enjoying it because of the league itself, not because of players making the jump and whatnot. And I don't think that's necessary for the viability of the league. I think the XFL is a success because it's innovating and it's captivating football in the spring at a time where there's no football. That's what it's all about.
I'm with you, Alan. I think there is a part of me that says for the XFL to have good players, that success is important for players that have been in the XFL that go to the NFL. I agree with that statement. Do I think the success and everything is hindered or desperate or dependent on what players do in the NFL? Absolutely not. I mean, the XFL is more football, whether or not, take the college aspect of it all, right? Does a college team's season depend on whether or not they have ex-NFL prospects? No, because sometimes some of the best players on a college team don't even make the NFL. So I think everybody needs to, or this Forbes article needs to slow its roll a little bit. I don't think that the XFL is neither dependent nor needs this in any way, shape, or form. Ideally, the XFL has their own players that don't go to the NFL and stay in the XFL long term.
I'm with you there, and I think this Forbes article was very optimistic for the league. It does say some nice things, and I agree with them. But that part of it, just talking about how, okay, PJ Walker goes to the NFL, and I don't know, I don't know how this would be possible, but because if PJ Walker's playing and he's given the shot to put the effort in, he's going to succeed. He's a talented player. But if a player like him, if we saw Dwayne Hendricks go and among other players going to the Steelers, Jordan Ta'amu doesn't break in, at least as a backup, and they have to come back to the XFL. Great for the XFL. I don't know what that's what I'm thinking. Like, if these guys don't make it there, they know that they could come back to the XFL. The XFL has open arms for the most part for all players, at least from what we've heard so far from the commissioner and other people at the league. So players not succeeding in the NFL might mean more talent for the XFL. That's what I just didn't connect, that notion of, oh, they don't make it, then other players are going to see that it's just not a stepping stone. That's
if a player wants to play football professionally, the XFL is an option. Obviously, if players don't want to play professional football anymore, or they don't feel like it's worth it, they're not going to play. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. It has nothing to do with the success. If they can go and play in the XFL, make some money, and play something that they love to play, maybe they don't even have aspirations to go to the NFL. I mean, that's a little sarcastic, but of course everybody has aspirations to play in the NFL. What I'm saying is maybe that's not a goal of theirs. They just want to play football professionally. They're making a good salary. They're having a fun time. Jordan Ta'amu, or PJ Walker. What if after this 2-year contract, PJ Walker, wants to start? and the XFL gives them a comparable contract. There you go. Go to the XFL. You don't have to be in the NFL to play football. I think that's what we're getting at. And Alan, to allude to your point, some of these players are going to come back. I guarantee it. And they were stars in the XFL.
For sure.
Just because they're not stars in the NFL doesn't mean they can't come back and be stars again in the XFL.
But I am excited to watch them in the NFL too, because that's as a Steeler fan, like and a Los Angeles Extreme fan from back in the day. You know how revered Tommy Maddox is in this house? Now we've got a plethora of Tommy guns out there. Hopefully they're going to make an impact. And real quick question, bonus cover 2 here, Bryant. Who do you rather be, PJ Walker or Jordan Ta'amu right now? Now, Jordan Ta'amu, you're way far down that depth chart, and you got a long way. You're not passing Patrick Mahomes, but you get to learn behind him and from Andy Reid. But PJ Walker in Carolina definitely looks like he has a better shot at maybe playing next season, but they did just get Teddy Bridgewater there, and he's the guy that they're anointing. He's going to be the man, we all assume. Which spot you'd rather be in? Jordan Ta'amu's very young. He's got a lot of time to learn and be under wings.
Alan, I'm going to ask you this question, but don't answer it, because I'm going to answer your question with a question, and then I think it'll be very hindered, but don't answer it. Over or under 0.5 games started by PJ Walker this season? And I think I'd rather be in PJ Walker's. Without answering the question, I think I'd rather be in PJ Walker's shoes, at least for the opportunity. We shall see. Alan, I do want to mention one more thing. On XFL.com, they have a XFL player tracker of player signing with NFL teams. So go ahead and check that out. That's under the news section there. Gives you a breakdown by team.
That's awesome. Check that out. Keep up to date with it. We'll be talking a whole lot of that as the offseason goes on, because we're going to see plenty more players signing on to at least be in training camps if they don't sign contracts. And April's here. That means NFL draft. So that also will start opening up the floodgates for non-drafted college players who don't even get camp invites to the NFL, might get camp invites to the XFL. So much football to keep track of. I'm so glad I'm home at my computer all day, every day, just refreshing and watching Twitter. And it's kind of nice. Although I do remember air being pretty nice to breathe sometimes. I might have to try that sometime pretty soon, Brian. Maybe before the next episode.
Right?
Ooh, yeah. Not enough though. Definitely not enough.
Not to get the Amazon packages outside or something.
I go to the porch. Oh, the weekends are definitely, I've got a before they shut them down. I order a bunch of bottles of rye, and that's where you sit on the porch. You say hi to the neighbors that you can't talk to up close and personal anymore, and they ask, "What's with the XFL?" And I say, "It'll be back in 2021. Don't come near my house." And that's my life right now. But still talking XFL and still wearing my XFL gear. I saw, Bryant, some new hats came out on XFL Shop. People tweeting about those too. They looked slick. And you could get all your XFL gear at XFLshop.com, the online store for authentic XFL gear, jerseys, hats, the authentic team customized XFL footballs like this Battle Hawks ball you see behind me if you're watching on YouTube. Bryant never has his Guardians football around. I don't know why. Where's your Guardians football?
Go Guardians.
Why do you never have that on display? Maybe put that on the ladder that's sitting behind you.
Yeah, construction. Ominously. There's construction. I don't want it to get damaged.
The XFL Shop, everything you need to show off your team colors and celebrate the love of football. Get your gear today at XFLshop.com. The time has come, the football talker said, to talk of MVPs, to count down from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, and give away our award that is not a physical award, but it is etched into eternity on a podcast, Bryant. Forever, whoever's number one on our list here will be known as the XFL MVP to us and all of our loyal followers of the show. This is a big one.
Andrew Jones looking for Parham. He's got it, and he's got a touchdown. Dallas has found momentum, and now they've got a 10-point lead with a point after coming.
Back in the game, number 49, the tight end. We saw leave a couple plays earlier with an injury. And they throw it to him in the end zone for the touchdown. That's a way to come back. Welcome back, Mr. Parham.
And we're starting with number 5, Bryant. I'm going to say he's your favorite player not on the LA Wildcats. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I'd definitely say. I was spot on about him. I know you don't want to give me credit because he's such a, phenom, but he is definitely. Donald Parham from
Stetson in Florida. Phenom is a great word. I would say Donald Parham is the phenom of the XFL. 6'8", 240 pounds, a tight end whose stats were up there with all the top receivers in this league. He was the go-to player no matter who was playing quarterback for Dallas. He was the guy they had to get the ball to. He had 4 touchdowns in 5 weeks at the tight end position, a player who came virtually out of nowhere. I don't know how you come out of nowhere at 6'8". We've talked a lot about him during these countdown episodes, Bryant, and I told you for a tight end to make my MVP list, he'd have to be pretty special. Donald Parham, pretty damn special. Number 49 of the Renegades, just was basically unguardable.
Unguardable, I would say. Allen targeted 43 times, at second most in the league, behind Cam Phillips of the Houston Roughnecks. Really, Landry Jones's and Philip Nelson's favorite target. And why not? Once you're inside the 10-yard line, he's the man. He's the man you go to. He's the man you want to catch that football because he can just jump over. He doesn't have to jump. He just reaches over everyone. 4 touchdowns. Really some great performances. Don't remember some speed. He had that get up and go touchdown against the Seattle Dragons as well. That was a lot of fun to watch.
That touchdown alone.
I think you called him. What did you call? You called him an ostrich. I called him a gazelle.
No, I said gazelle. You said ostrich. What are you putting words in my mouth? Donald Parham, that run was, I don't know how that didn't make the top 8 that we went over last week in the brackets. The most beautiful, elegant touchdown of the season belonged to Donald Parham. And really, where would the Renegades have been without him? I mean, they had a decent enough running game, but receiver-wise, I don't think that offense exploded as much as we thought it would, Bryant. I was calling them a bit of an underachieving club on offense, at least. But Donald Parham picked up a ton of slack for Dallas, which also factors into me as being an MVP, a guy who could lift everybody up, make the big plays when you desperately need him, and he made big plays when they absolutely had to have him in some of their games, especially that Seattle game.
Yeah, you remember they're in a playoff position as the season was stopped in Week 5. So Donald Parham, someone that I like to see play and hopefully succeed in the NFL. Maybe out here locally, right? He's with the Chargers now.
You could go watch him play for the Chargers, Bryant, and go to camp, check him out. He's your favorite player, and tell him how he made number 5 on our countdown list to MVP. Let's take it now to number 4.
Into Seattle territory for the first time. They pull it back and another completion all the way into the end zone. Easy touchdown, St. Louis.
Run to now give yourself first and goal.
Ta'amu on the keeper, makes a move, lunging towards the end zone. Touchdown!
We just talked about it.
Number 4, Jordan Ta'amu, the quarterback of the St. Louis Battlehawks, now signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. And before he got that opportunity, Bryant, he was leading this team that I was pegging to win the East, and he was a lethal quarterback in that RPO scheme, using his legs, but really using his intelligence. A young quarterback who I thought was making a lot of wise decisions. You know, people want to fault him for maybe throwing that one pick in the game against Houston on a drive where they're going down the field to maybe knot that game up or take the lead, and throws a pick. But it was an offsides. It wasn't. That should have been called. Jordan Ta'amu was making really smart, wise decisions like that all the time. Taking the free play. Making sure he gets rid of the ball or tucks it and runs when he needs to. A marker of a leader is taking what defenses give you, not trying to do too much, and being explosive when the opportunity presents itself. This dude did that each and every single time out. And as a young QB, I thought, man, if this guy's hitting on all cylinders, he'll be an MVP candidate. He hit on all cylinders, Bryant. He's an MVP candidate, number 4 on our list.
And number 4, I think value to the team was also a big importance for me here with Jordan Ta'amu. He did what he needed to do in every single game, you know, and we talked about it, especially in that first home opener for the Battlehawks against the New York Guardians. He didn't do much. He was accurate when he had to be. He made the plays when he had to be. He shut them down at the end to make sure they would get the ball back. Jordan Ta'amu was the heart and soul of that team, and I think the leader, and at such a young age, just shows so much poise. All I see is great things for this man's future. Jordan Ta'amu, maybe not the greatest stats in the whole wide world, but definitely the value was there, the importance was there, and that's why he was number 4 on my list as well.
Oh, he had to be. You know, our Offensive Player of the Year countdown, Brian, I don't think he made the top 5, correct?
Yeah, I thought he did. Did he not?
Ta'amu did? Did he? I'm looking at... No, he did not. I'm looking back at it. He did not. But that's why this is a different kind of list, and that's what I wanted to emphasize here. Offensive Player of the Year, I think stats maybe weighed more into that one, Bryant, when we were coming up with that list. MVP, you're talking about, like you said, value, importance to your team, and being someone that everyone could count on all the time. And in a position of importance at quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu, you think, oh, the youth, he might be a liability. They might handcuff him a bit. Not at all. He played within a system that I thought was beautifully tailored to him. That RPO system, lots of running by the St. Louis Battlehawks for sure, but lots of unleashing Jordan Ta'amu, and he made the plays when they needed him. And, man, I just feel like extrapolate what he was doing weeks 1 through 5, what he could have and would have been doing near the end of the season. Dare I say it, I was expecting him to rival P.J. Walker as the most explosive QB in the league with all the skills he has, being such a great athlete.
No, he was a great athlete, a lot of skills. And you got to remember, 22 years old, if I'm not mistaken, not on the age. So just like I said, a bright future for this man. A lot of fun to watch him play and lead that team to probably one of the better teams in the league, at least when the season stopped.
And only 2 picks, and both of them were against the same team in that Houston game. One of them shouldn't have even happened. So then you take that one away. 1 interception, too, for a young QB. Very, very, very rare to see, and definitely worthy of making this list. Jordan Ta'amu, number 4 on our MVP countdown list. Let's go now to the, I think, going to be controversial number 3.
Seconds to snap it here. Get it away. Blitz coming. Picked up. It is caught. Touchdown. Cam Phillips. And for the first time all afternoon, with 9:03 to go in the 4th quarter, Houston has taken the lead. Walker melting that play clock all the way down. Wants to throw for it. Steps up and fires. It's Phillips. Down by the goal line and in. Touchdown. Roughnecks. Second of the day, 9th of the season for Cam Phillips.
Cam Phillips, Bryant, landed at number 3, our Offensive Player of the Year in our MVP countdown list. Is at number 3. He had 3 XFL Stars of the Week awards, all the touchdowns. Why is he at 3? I know why, but explain to the people why we placed him here.
Well, Alan, you and I have been talking about this list for quite some time, and this morning we actually bumped him back 1. And I think the reason is the value to his team. Yes, Cam Phillips, great player. Stats were there. Do the Houston Roughnecks have the success that they have without him? I'm not going to sit here and say yes, but at the same time, I don't know if I could say no based on the way June Jones ran that team, the way P.J. Walker played, the way some of his other assets played, Nick Hawley, Butler as well. From the backfield. So I think Cam Phillips had a great season. It's one of those type of offensive seasons you don't really see from a receiver when you start kind of forecasting the numbers a little bit, but I think that's why, although he was our offensive player of the year, because really you had to account for him, I think in terms of MVP, is number 3 on my list.
Yeah, this one is controversial for sure. Any wide receiver getting 9 touchdowns in 5 weeks, winning all those individual awards, definitely deserves to be on the list for sure and be considered as the number 1, as the MVP of the league. But at wide receiver, you're talking about a position that relies on someone to get them the ball. And also, we're going to be talking about 2 players ahead of them that just kind of put their teams on their backs. Now, Cam Phillips was spectacular. He had a connection with P.J. Walker that was unreal for guys who had never played together, and coming together to join this Roughnecks team, play under June Jones, and I mean, basically halfway to a 1,000-yard season, 9 touchdowns. These are incredible Biletnikoff Award-winning numbers if you're talking college football. Offensive Player of the Year numbers for our show, but it's not the quarterback position, so some of the value gets deteriorated, at least for you and I think, Bryant. And that's just the nature, I think, of the game. And we're spoiling it here. 2 quarterbacks are ahead of Cam Phillips because those quarterbacks just had to do it the entire game. Cam Phillips showed up in spurts, a lot of spurts, but he plays wide receiver, so that kind of hurt him, I think. In all honesty.
Based on the 31 receptions, Alan, that's just a little over 6 touches per game. I mean, it's hard to give somebody the MVP when you're touching the ball about 6 times per game. You have to have a extraordinary, I mean, and by that I mean like extraordinary season. And Cam Phillips did have one. I just don't know if it was that the value again was there, because there was a game where Cam Phillips had 1 reception for 9 yards, and the Houston Roughnecks still won that game. So, look, not trying to take anything away from the man. I'm just saying that in terms of value, in terms of what makes an MVP, I think Cam Phillips at number 3 is a pretty good spot.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there. The fact that someone was able to game plan Cam Phillips out of a game, and the Roughnecks still won the game, but he's a player that was game planned out of the game, basically non-existent. His team won without him being a huge factor in that. Also kind of hurts him as well. And we'll take it now to our next, the top 2 in our countdown. And these guys were, if they weren't on, basically their teams were probably going to lose. Especially our number 2 guy, who, like you said earlier this morning, Bryant, snuck into the spot because he was at 3 basically all week long. And then we said, you know what? Let's make it number 2 for this cat. Literally, this cat. This is wild.
From the 40. Johnson again going deep. This time McBride's open into the end zone for the Wildcat touchdown.
Remember that flag. Off the play fake. Here's Johnson, loads up, got a man. It's Whitfield in the end zone. No. Saeed Blacknall.
So Josh Johnson makes it to the number 2 spot on our MVP countdown, Bryant. Why? Well, he is the QB in charge of the 2 highest scoring games in the league this season. His team basically was lost without him. And because the XFL gives you so much access to the sidelines, you could see what kind of leader he was on the sideline, how he spoke to his teammates, how he galvanized them, how he got them together, riled them up, got them focused, how he made sure his coaches were on the same page no matter what. Josh Johnson, a leader. The leadership skills and the importance to those W's for the Wildcats get him on this list. Now, not to say he didn't have that rough one in New York, but still the leader of the team, and I'd say the second best quarterback in the league, and our number 2 in our MVP countdown.
Leadership, I think, is huge. And the Wildcats were dependent on Josh Johnson. Norm Chow, his offense was great, but it was Josh Johnson that made it that much better. I think Josh Johnson showed that he could play football. He showed that he could play quality football. He is a solid MVP candidate for this league, for the Wildcats. The Wildcats, like you said, would have been lost without him. They were 2-3, but they were 2-2 in his starts. And Josh Johnson took ownership of some of his mistakes as well. Never, really showed signs of defeat. The man lost his mouthpiece, Alan, and still won a football game. I mean, come on. This is
I think
Josh
he
Johnson.
found
I'm
it.
glad, and he might have found it in the second half.
Or he borrowed someone's. I don't know.
The Wildcats definitely needed Josh Johnson, and Josh Johnson delivered, and I think that's why he was number 2 on both of our lists.
Needed him. Oh man, we saw in week 1. We were both wearing our gear. So yeah, we're gonna be cheering for LA. That's what we do. We love the league. We love all these teams, but our hearts are with these Wildcats, Bryant, you and I. And that week 1, I admit, for me at least, I was like, oh man, if he's not in this game next week, what are they gonna do? They're handicapped without Josh Johnson and his ability. And also talk about the Tampa game, down in that one. And that was a very important game for LA. They were down pretty big. Two scores.
18 points? 19 points?
And
18.
Josh Johnson, zero sweat. And just blasts the doors off the Jerry Glanville defense. And just a fun player to watch. Probably, I'd say, the best story of any one player in the XFL because of his bouncing around a million teams, getting this is his gig now. He is the LA Wildcats to me. I really hope he's back in 2021, and if he is and our number 1 guy isn't, Josh Johnson definitely will be the favorite to win MVP next year.
Alan, in that New York game, don't forget, he had 2 touchdown passes as well in that game, and I believe, the conversion as well. So he's done his parts. He'll never tell you that he did his part. Everybody else needs to do theirs. But Josh Johnson, definitely an MVP candidate. And you're right, Alan. Maybe the favorite if he comes back in 2021.
Oh, I'm calling it. If he's back, he's my favorite to win MVP next season. For sure. But this is about this season. And this season was cut off short, but we all know who was in line to be number 1 on this countdown, to be the MVP. Jay?
One is the protection.
Blitz coming on a 3rd and 1. Walker going for it all, and he gets it all. Touchdown.
1:10. Out of the pocket is Walker. Wide open is Mobley again. This time they connect. Touchdown, Roughnecks.
Easiest number 1 choice, Bryant, of any countdown we've done. PJ Walker, MVPJ, Houston Roughnecks quarterback, the sidearm, the deep ball, the scrambling, the fumbling the ball, running back 20 yards and then scoring a touchdown anyway. Unreal. I go out there, this is burned into my memory, watching the video, the hype video for PJ Walker from the Roughnecks before week 1. And he says, I go out there playing like I'm the best player on the field every single time. Damn it if he didn't prove it. Obviously the best player on the field. Every time he was out there this season. MVPJ.
1,338 yards, Alan. 119 completions, 65% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions.
15-4. 15-4. And this is a team that basically threw the ball all the time. 4 measly interceptions that really didn't amount to a hill of beans, Bryant, because if the team scored off of it, he just went right back out and scored anyway. Undefeated. Don't forget undefeated. 5 W's.
And then 100 yards rushing as well, Alan, on top of that with the touchdown as well. I mean, this was the motor that moved not just the Houston Roughnecks, but the XFL. I mean, he put an entire league on his back and showed what this league was all about. PJ Walker was a leader. PJ Walker won games And PJ Walker didn't lose any games as well. I think it's fair to say that PJ Walker, if we get more PJ Walkers in 2021, this league's in for quite a run going forward. Really just one of the easiest choices we've ever had to make on this show.
For sure. And if any player also to add on, you talk about how this guy dazzled, he won, the whole offense was built around his ability to make smart decisions and extend plays and just go out there and ball. Like June Jones, all the trust he put into him to really go out there and just execute and be the man. And he did it. If any player in this league saw all that, or excuse me, young football fans saw all that and didn't say, man, this league's fun, I want to be like that guy, I want to play in that league one day and be like PJ Walker. If there's any player in the league that had anyone saying that, it was him. PJ Walker was amazing. And I'm really bummed as an XFL fan that he's going to be with the Panthers over in the NFL. But the fact is that guy's so talented. He needs that opportunity for sure. So I am going to be following his career forever and ever because he is one of the most fun football players I've ever watched. And it was thanks to the XFL we got the opportunity to see him do it in the pros. Bryant, PJ Walker, the Houston Roughnecks, is our MVP, number one on this countdown. But before we wind down, let's real quick throw in some honorable mentions. Is there anybody that didn't make our list that you just thought a really unsung MVP candidate, maybe of their team, or just someone that could have cracked this top five if these other five guys weren't so awesome?
I think I'm going to go with the most important to his team aspect more than anything. I don't know if you're going to say this guy as well, but I'm going to say Luis Perez of the New York Guardians.
Ooh.
He turned that team around. He brought them close when he came in to spell Matt McGloin in St. Louis. He beat the LA Wildcats. He beat the Dallas Renegades. He was doing pretty good things for the Renegades. For the Guardians. I'm going to say Luis Perez would have been a great MVP candidate if the season had gone further and we got to see exactly what he could do. Because, like I said, he made you want to play for him.
Yeah, Luis Perez is another great story. Him and Josh Johnson, I think, are the two most fascinating guys to hear about and their journeys and their careers. Definitely honorable mention. I have no gripes with that. He's not the guy I pegged. Holy crap, what a horrible game he had in the first half, especially against Houston. But Landry Jones, how important was he to Dallas, right? I really put the boots to Philip Nelson. I remember just his bad performances, but he just couldn't move this offense the way Landry Jones could, even with all his mistakes he was making. I thought was vital to Stoops and Mummy having an offense to go along with their pretty darn good defense. Don't you think Landry Jones, even though season was cut short for him with an injury, had some bad interceptions? He was pretty damn important to the Dallas Renegades with all that happening.
In fairness, I'm not going to have too many gripes with you on this one. I will say that LA game that he won, they were able to run the ball significantly well against that LA team, which probably led.
Still had over 300 yards passing in that game, though.
And then he did beat Seattle, and we all know how we feel about Seattle on this team. But Landry Jones,
you gotta be kidding me!
Hopefully that knee gets better, and we see him back here leading the Dallas Renegades to another game, to another season, a productive season as well. Any non-quarterbacks, I don't know, you can think of just kind of off the top of your head? Cameron Artis-Payne comes to mind in terms of value to his team and what he was able to bring.
The honorable mentions. Oh yeah, you could throw in both running backs in Tampa Bay.
We haven't done that before, have we?
I could say Tolliver with Tampa Bay on defense was tremendous at corner. Anthony Johnson, I think, just as a leader. Steven Johnson is a leader as well with his defense in Seattle. These are important players. Didn't crack our list though, Bryant. The top five is locked in forever, and it's PJ Walker sitting atop as MVP, according to us at least. And what do we know? We just watched all the games over and over and over again.
1,000 times.
Read the stat lines nonstop and really take this very seriously. So maybe you should take that seriously when we say MVP Jay Walker, baby, forever in 100 years. Where's the T-shirt? I want the T-shirt, MVP Jay, the uncrowned MVP, at least with the league. But with us, Bryant, he's our MVP of Season 1 of the XFL, for damn sure. And that was another fun countdown in the books. What do you say? We made it through award season.
We made it through award season. Hashtag XFL Show Awards. Give us your top 5 in MVP or in any one of the categories that we've covered. We did offensive and defensive player of the year. We also did coach of the year. Also moments. If you have some moments you want to talk about, go back and listen to that show as well, because we talked top 5 moments. Alan, it's been a lot of fun. Award season's over. I don't know what we're going to do next week, because we've been these last shows were kind of easy to write because we had the award season. So stick around. We'll give you some insight on what we're going to do that. We'll probably tweet it out at XFL Show. So make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at XFL Show. Also, subscribe and listen to us every single Tuesday and Friday morning on your favorite podcast app. That's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast app that you like. Let us know which one you like too as well. And also you can watch us. Hi, Mom. On XFL.com or YouTube.com/XFL, the official YouTube page of the XFL.
And you know what? You can also vote in that bracket this weekend. Don't forget about that. Top moments on XFL social media. Vote on Twitter at XFL 2020. Check it out. Look at all those plays on XFL.com too. I'm having fun watching the votes come in on those. And yeah, next week's going to be fun, Bryant. The countdowns, we'll come back to some more countdowns, but for the award season, we're going to cap it off here with MVP next week. We'll see what we could get into. We want to talk to some of you. Like we said, DMs are open, so hit us up at XFL Show if you want to talk about your fandom and maybe a special moment you had. If you're a part of the Beer Snake in DC, we'd love to hear from you. Or call us 724-5654-XFL. We'll set something up, get you on the phone for an episode, or even on a Skype call like some people have done with us, and we'll have some fun with that. We're looking forward to getting some more league representation, interviews, check-ins with players and coaches in the very near future. Stick around for all of that. And yes, like Bryant said, make sure you subscribe to the feed because it is still on. I'm not going outside, but I'm still making sure that feed is getting plenty to eat with some shows twice a week, Brian. Nom, 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 nom. XFL talk all the way to 2021.
Alan, we did it for 2 years. I'm sure we can do it through an off season of lots and lots to talk about. But if you have suggestions as well, fans, let us know. Like Alan says, call the fan line 724-565-4XFL, or just hit us up on the DMs. This show is yours as well. If you want us to talk about something, you want us to hit up something, you want to talk to us, Skype with us, have your face in one of these boxes.
We'll make a personalized box for you right here or down here in this spot.
It'll be like down, like in the middle.
We'll put you here and we'll make us smaller, and then we'll give you the big box. Make it your show for a few minutes. Talk about how much you love your team, and we'll talk football together. Hopefully you're all staying safe. Hopefully you're all healthy, feeling good, and ready to talk some football on this long road to 2021 with us. But still, lots will be happening, especially with these NFL signings and more articles I read that fire me up, Bryant. Don't worry about me being fired up for Tuesday morning. That show, we'll have plenty to talk about on the next one. I'm going to be ready. And hopefully it'll look... Hopefully, I'm gonna touch up this studio a little bit, make it look even more fun, more elegant.
Oh, because I started working on mine. Now
that ladder has really been lurking this whole show, and I'm thinking, man, if he's gonna be doing something, I gotta be. This is like a arms race. I'm gonna be putting more wild stuff in here, making it look legit, baby. This is a studio. We're on video now. And for all you podcast listeners, thank you so much. Podcast listening, a lot different experience, I know. You're probably not in a car as much. So great time to listen to us. I've come up with this real quick countdown list. My top 3 favorite places to listen to this show, if I were you, general football fan. The shower. Doing laundry. Doing the dishes. The 3 best essential places for podcast listening. Or cooking.
Can I throw cooking in there? Anything in the kitchen.
If you're in that kitchen for an extended period of time, let us hang out with you. And, you know, you
could also, Alan,
we
you
can't
could also
smell.
ask your
We can't smell it yet, but one day through the 5G, we'll be able to smell what they're cooking while they
not
listen
5G, 5D, by the way. Alan, you can also ask your smart device to play. This is the XFL Show podcast, by the way. So if you have one of those, just say it out loud, and it'll start playing it.
Yeah, but don't do that right now, though, Bryant, because you always do that, and then you make my puck thing back there go off, and then it throws my whole office off. So don't. I got to end the show before Bryant starts messing with it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. And like we said, at XFL Show, if you want to be a part of the show, or if you just have anything to talk about XFL-wise with us, we are there. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Stay healthy. For Bryant, I'm Alan. This is the XFL Show. Remember, they're listening.